Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Zaman. Hope you guys are having a wonderful time. This is my YouTube channel, Roots of Knowledge. If you guys are not familiar with my channel, then my channel is basically to help you guys learn Arabic, Islam, Quran, Hadith, all of these sciences, inshallah. The aim is to be able to teach from beginner's level all the way up to advanced level for you guys. Alright, so this series is dedicated to the 40 Hadith of Imam Nawawi, which is basically a collection of Hadith from our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where I try to explain with illustrations of the lessons that we can learn from the Hadith. So, without any delay, let's start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So, this Hadith is Hadith number 8. يحرم من الرضاعة ما يحرم من النسب. Suckling makes unlawful that which lineage makes unlawful. Alright, so kind of like straightforward hadith. Maybe you know something about this. If you do know anything about this, please put it in the comments below. And if you don't know anything about this, don't worry, inshallah, I will try to explain it to you guys as best as I can. Alright, so first of all, when it comes to marriage, right, there are certain people who you are not allowed to marry. Okay, so for instance, like people that are blood relations and people who are in-laws, and also one of them which is through suckling. Yeah, so fostering, suckling, this is what we will be looking at today. So normally, let's say for example, like there's a man, and this man is married to a woman, right? So they're married together, and he has parents, which obviously are her in-laws, and she has parents, obviously makes those in-laws for him, and then he has brothers, and he also has sisters. She also has brothers. I drew that a bit crazy there. And sisters, and they have children. So, and maybe even they have children as well. Okay, so try to make this as neat as possible. Now, here, all I want to explain to you guys here is the importance of understanding the different types of members of a family. Right, so let's say we have all of this now. Hopefully, you won't have to draw anymore. Okay, so this is basically your average family. So let's say, for example, like this woman. This woman is obviously not allowed to marry her own biological parents, right? She can't marry her siblings. She can't marry her nephews and nieces. These are the nephews and nieces of this woman. She can't marry those. So these are all nephews and nieces, all right? And she can't marry her own children. She can't marry her grandchildren, right? So these above, she can't marry. Those she can't marry, etc. So let's take this guy over here. So this guy, he is not allowed to marry, obviously, his siblings. He's not allowed to marry his in-laws, but he is allowed to marry his wife's, sister, technically, right? Not at the same time, but he can technically marry her. He can marry his wife's nephews and nieces, these guys over here. He can't marry his own children. He can't marry his grandchildren, okay? And he can't marry his nephews and nieces. Okay, let's take this little girl over here. The same thing applies if this girl over here was in this family. She can't marry anyone above. She can't marry anyone below, but she can marry those on the side because they are her cousins, and you're allowed to marry cousins. And likewise, the same goes for all of the rest of them as well. So this is what we call the blood. Yeah, this is due to blood. Now we're talking here about suckling here. So when we're talking about suckling, right, what we want to mention is, for example, like in Islam, if there is a child, a boy or a girl, under the age of 2, so that's under 2 years, and they were to drink the milk of a woman, whether they drank it directly from her breasts or from the milk being expressed in a vessel, then these children would become like the biological children of her own. Yeah. So all you have to do is take this child, and let's say you put this child in place of this child, and then all the people this child is not allowed to marry, this child will not allowed to marry. Right? So this child cannot marry his own mother, cannot marry his own, obviously, daughter, cannot marry his sister's daughter, cannot marry his sister, cannot marry auntie, etc. He can marry his cousins, but that's it. So the son, the breastfeeding son, even though he's not biological, this breastfeeding son will be allowed, or foster son will be allowed to sit with the family, will be allowed to, see the women without their hijab, like any family member, basically. This son will have the same rights as that son. Okay, and the same goes for a girl as well. So if a girl was to be breastfed, she will be like the girl over here. So she will not be able to marry her biological, or the woman's biological children. She will not be able to marry the grandchildren. She will not be able to marry above anyone. In fact, she can't even marry the husband himself. So the husband himself, she will not be able to, even though she did not drink his milk, she can't marry him, nor can she marry the husband's brothers, and so forth. And all of those family members, will also be considered to be impermissible for her to marry. Okay, and the same goes with the boy, on both sides as well. So this is what the hadith actually means, that suckling, so these children suckling from this woman makes unlawful that which lineage makes unlawful. So blood lineage, whatever is considered to be haram in blood lineage, meaning whatever relationship is such that they can't marry in blood lineage, the same applies when it comes to breastfeeding as well. So if this woman breastfeeds these two children are like brothers and sisters now, they can't marry each other, and they are like these two children, they can't marry them. They can't marry the woman, they can't marry the woman's parents, they can't marry the father, they can't marry the father's parents, they can't marry their kind of like breastfeeding uncles and aunties, all of them. They can marry all of these, but they can't marry anyone below. Right, and that's it. And this is something, if you guys have breastfed from someone and they have children, that means you have the same rights as their children, in the sense that there's no strictness when it comes to the hijab, and also traveling with them, and other rules that you can think of. So Jazakumullah khair. I hope you guys understand this. Usually it takes a bit of time for people to be able to grasp this, but this is what the Quran tells us. وَأُمَّهَاتُكُمْ مِنَ الرَّضَاعَةِ. Yeah. Jazakallah khair for helping me make these videos, guys. Patrons, you guys are wonderful souls. May Allah bless all of you guys. If any of you guys want to help me make these videos and sponsor me on a monthly basis, or even a one-off, then please check out the description below. And that's it. If you have any questions about this hadith or any of the videos that I make, please put them in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.